Are you listening? This ain't no quiet thing. We're screaming out our lungs. Hey, are you listening? Hey, are you there? Hey, are you listening? Or do you just not care?
It's Hey, Are You Listening? This is a podcast exploring the past, present, and future of Christian music. My name is Joel, and I'm here with my good friend Brandon. And we connected over a mutual love of some particular artists, but also have pretty different tastes when it comes to things. And so we get the joy of allowing each other to experience new things through things that we love. And sometimes we get to invite some friends along for the ride as well. Brandon, what's going on today?
Oh, I'm doing good today.
That's great to hear. I'm super thankful to hear that. We have a lot to get into today. And so let's just dive into what's happening. And I want to first start by looking at what's going on in the news.
What's in the news? What's in the news?
So what's in the news? Christian rock is in the news. It's happened. It's pretty wild. So I wanted to bring up the fact that maybe, Brandon, you have a gift of prophecy.
Maybe.
Our podcast episode around Halloween came out, and you did a game on, I think, trick-or-treating.
Yeah.
Where you gave us a hypothetical album and then asked if it was a trick or a treat. And one of the things that you called out was Skillet Christmas music. And you basically were just kind of like, yeah, would this be a trick or a treat? And then we turn around, and just a few days later, Skillet drops a Christmas song. O Come, Emmanuel. How did you do this, Brandon?
John Cooper's listening. He's listening to this podcast. He heard us say that, and he was like, wow, we need to do that. That's not John Cooper.
Well, I don't know how well it's paid off for them, although I do think that it's probably gotten them a lot more attention than they imagined that it would. Have you followed the news around this at all?
I've followed it a little bit. It's been really weird trying to like navigate it all.
So essentially, here's what happens. So you have a band, Skillet, who is... they fall on that, for me, the line of like a hard rock.
Yeah.
Not necessarily metal, but a lot of people are calling
Yeah.
this metal. Who release a cover of a traditional Christmas song, O Come, Emmanuel. And if you listen, have you listened to it?
Yeah.
So like the first several minutes of it is pretty chill, more traditional, but then it breaks out at the end with some screaming and some breakdowns.
Yeah.
And so this has become a point of debate for people that maybe didn't know Skillet existed before, but they're hearing this for the first time, and
Yeah.
they're like, oh, you can't do that. Like, literally saying that this song is demonic.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
I feel like people have been like, they've been putting out music like this for years.
Yeah.
Like you have people that'll be like, I don't know, like Town of Bethlehem or whatever, and it'll be like a screamo song or whatever. I think maybe it's like that it's number one, maybe like the music video like adds to it. And then maybe it's just that it's popular. Like you're seeing this. And so it's a big deal. I think what's interesting though is that like, so for the past year or 2 years or whatever, like John Cooper's had his like podcast, and I feel like John Cooper has built up a lot of goodwill with like kind of like maybe like the more conservative side of like Christian music or the church or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I think it's almost like these people hear him go on there, and so I don't know, maybe they're thinking like, oh no, this stuff is wholesome or whatever, and it, like there's nothing non-wholesome about it,
Right.
But I think it's like those maybe are the kind of people that they hear screaming or see red lights or whatever, and they think this is evil because I'm not used to this or whatever. I think that's my whole like theory on it. Maybe is that people hear like I don't know. Like I remember when Kanye West released his stuff. I remember having someone come to me and say, "Well, hey, like I should go listen to some of his older stuff." I was like, "No, I don't. I don't think his older stuff is going to match up with his like the is that Jesus is King or something he
Yeah.
released." And I guess that's my thoughts on like the controversy.
It's funny to me that we're back here again. That this was a late 80s, early 90s like conversation in the Christian music world. Oh, rock music is evil.
Yeah,
And so you can't take something that's evil and put Jesus. Like people would say what they like quote like the what does fellowship does
Yeah.
light have with darkness or whatever. And we got past this and realized no, there's like nothing evil about rock and roll. Like what is evil is like messages and things that
Yeah.
we're communicating. And I'm just gonna be honest with you. I'm not a big Skillet fan,
yeah,
but like I am defending them on this one to the end.
Yeah.
Because it's ridiculous for a band that's been so outspoken about their Christian faith and
Yeah.
never wavered in that at all, to be taking flack over something like this. I think it's just silly.
yeah. I think it's this desire almost say you can't just say you don't like something. You have to attach it, or it has to be I'm fighting a battle over this. And I mean, I'm in the same category. Like I remember listening to Skillet when I was in like high school, and really haven't listened to them a ton since then. But like I don't look at them and think, well, it's because they've become like demonic. It's more of just, oh, I don't enjoy that style, or I just don't enjoy like how they put their music. Like there's nothing about like I'm fighting a
Right.
like righteous battle over this or whatever.
It's the culture we're in now where we can't just disagree about something.
Yeah.
But like everything is a super polarized issue.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if I disagree with something, then that thing that I disagree with is my enemy and I have to destroy it or take it down. And I just think, man, that's not the way of Jesus at all. And we get caught up in those battles so often. And so just interesting. So John Cooper, come on the podcast. We'll defend you. We're just a little blown away that this is a thing that we're talking about in 2025. It's pretty mind blowing.
I agree. You know, speaking of things we're talking about in 2025, I have a game about stuff from 1925.
Okay, well, let's talk about those things from 1925 in 2025. Let's do it.
I forgot if we had a button for games, so I was like, I'll just create my own sound effect where it's that. So today we're welcoming David Zach from Remedy Drive on our podcast. So before he joins us, Joel, I wanted to bring up some old remedies from the 1920s, and I
Okay.
want you to tell me if you think this is real or fake. All
Oh, my
right.
goodness. Okay.
Number 1, drinking a spoonful of castor oil for stomach issues.
Real.
That is real.
Yeah, I know that one.
Holding a warm cabbage leaf on sore joints.
Real.
Oh, it is real. Keeping a clove of garlic in your shoe to ward off sickness.
You sure it's not vampires?
Maybe it has a dual purpose.
Vampires, I would say it's true.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, let's go with true.
It's true too. Keeping a potato slice in your pocket to prevent colds.
True.
Made up.
I thought we were on a roll. These are all crazy, but they're true.
I don't know if you feel the same way, but when I play a game, it's almost like I root for you to fail, but it's like I don't know why. Like I'm upset that you're getting these right.
Well,
when it's like-
congratulations.
yeah, like I did my job. We'll give a couple more of these. Drinking hot milk with black pepper to clear the sinuses.
A black pepper would be good for the sinuses, but I don't think milk is good for your sinuses. I'm going to go with not real.
It's made up.
Yeah.
Stirring tea counterclockwise to calm anxiety.
Real.
Made up. Those are the ones that they're just enough to be like, I could picture someone saying, you got to spin it this way and it'll
But
take
like,
away your anxiety.
I feel like that would work for me. So in that sense, it is real.
Sleeping with an onion under the bed to stop nighttime coughing
Oh, that's just horrible. It's horrible enough that it's probably real.
is made up.
Oh, good. Good.
Isn't it funny? There's a fine line to where if it sounds real, then that's good. If it sounds crazy, then it also you think that it is real. Let's see. We'll get one last one on
Una
here.
mas.
Here we go. Mixing lard and kerosene as a salve for cuts and splinters
Made up.
is real.
That's awful. It didn't work, guys. It didn't work. Kerosene.
That's some of these I'm so I feel like there's things I look back on and I'm like, man, I wish I was in a time where a house cost $5 to buy, but I also am glad that I don't live in a time where my mom is pouring gasoline or kerosene on my
Open
splinters.
wound. Yeah. Truth. All right, well, let's talk a little bit, Brandon, about what we've been listening to lately. What's something that you've been digging into?
This might hurt your soul a little bit, but I have been digging into some Christmas music, just anticipating the stuff we're going to be reviewing. So I've been listening to that. I also found a band. I didn't look up a pronunciation for this, but it's like Fepeste or Fepest. I don't know if you've listened to any of their stuff.
I don't think so.
They're on Velvet Blue Music.
Oh.
And the album is, I want to say, like produced by Jason Martin. So it's pretty cool. It's one of those bands that you feel like you found like you've uncovered gold because they have maybe like 300 listens a week or a month on Spotify. So whenever I find a band like that, it both makes me sad that people aren't listening to the music, but also makes me happy that like I have found something like special right here.
You and all the Starflyer 59 fans. I
Yeah, there
guarantee
you go.
that all 300 of those are people who are big fans of Jason Martin.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to go check that out because I missed the boat on that one. So that's pretty awesome. Yeah. Well, so you did this the other day, but because we are having David from Remedy Drive on today, I don't have much of a history with Remedy Drive. And so one of the things that I've been spending a lot of time with lately is just their catalog and getting to know their music. And that's been a lot of fun for me to dig into. Just super like fun pop rock, piano kind of driven stuff. I've really enjoyed getting into that. So that's been fun for us to listen to.
That's cool.
And speaking of, let's transition and start that conversation. Well, today we are super excited because we have a special guest with us here on Hey, Are You Listening? And you may know him as the lead singer of the band Remedy Drive or his work with the organization Daylight United. Join us today in welcoming David Zach. David, how's it going, man?
Good to be with you guys today.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me on the program.
And we are really thankful that you're here. And so we're excited just to be able to hear from you a little bit of your story and how music's a part of that. And then especially what you're investing your time and energy into with Daylight United. But
yeah, so I guess jumping into it, so how did music become a part of your life?
I loved music ever since I was a kid. My mom would we'd play Keith Green on vinyl. We weren't actually allowed to listen to a lot of rock and roll, so it was like there was a acapella group called Acapella. We listened to a lot of that.
Yeah,
and
I
then singing
remember that.
choir. Yeah, an acapella vocal band. I started playing piano when I was a kid, but I really started to learn to make music rather than just read music when I was in jazz band in 8th grade, and I started learning to read chords rather than to read music.
Cool.
That's awesome. What were some of the once you got to the point where were able to kind of open the world up and listen to music that maybe you wanted to listen to, what were some of the early things that really you were excited about?
Oh man, Smashing Pumpkins and Pearl Jam and Nirvana and Stone Temple Pilots and Dave Matthews Band.
Yeah.
Like they just jumped off the page for me. That was when I was 13, 14, 15. I was sneaking that stuff, to be honest with you. There's just something about it. Like living through that in the moment was something else.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
And then U2, U2 came around right around that time period, a little later for me. Discovering Joshua Tree in the late 90s. I was like, what is this? Like it was just this heavenly thing.
Such an incredible record. Yeah, I remember really just diving into that for the first time. It's like a whole world opened up. Yeah. That's really cool. So how did that like transition from like starting to become a fan of music kind of work its way into you like starting bands and then leading into starting this thing called Remedy Drive? Like how did all that work itself out?
So I played a talent show my sophomore year of high school where I played Disarm by the Smashing Pumpkins just on acoustic guitar. And I'd written a song, an instrumental song at that time, but I just started writing songs my sophomore year of high school. And then I invited two of my brothers in to play them with me. So we did a talent show the next year and we did, we'd play a couple shows a year just for the fun of it. And that led into college playing consistently, like just doing free shows out on the quad, and then starting to get invited to play shows around that time in Nebraska. And that's never dreamed that could be something I do full time or do for a living, but that's where Remedy Drive started.
Tell us a little bit about the like early days of that with Remedy Drive. What did that look like? How did you guys kind of get your break and all that kind of stuff?
Well, we were just driving in our van. It started with my uncle's SUV, set up our own sound system, playing wherever people would have us, at camps, at colleges, and then getting out a little farther. We didn't know what to do other than to just call a ton of. We were roofing houses together, me and my brothers, and then we figured out how to play 5 shows a month, and we figured out how to play 10 shows a month, and we were able to quit our other jobs, quit school, and do the band full time. That was 2003, and it was just playing show after show after show, and driving and blown tires, and then somebody from a record imprint underneath the Warner Brothers called Word Records heard of us, and eventually we got signed. So that was around 2008 that we got signed, and so more. But before that, there was already a lot of people that knew of our music, so we weren't really trying to get signed. We actually didn't like the idea of the industry and being pigeonholed into one thing.
Yeah, you guys went for years as an independent band, which I think is so cool. It gave you all the cool like indie cred that you needed, like stepping into a moment like that.
Yeah, I don't know if in hindsight, like we weren't the kind of cool that I wanted to be. But when I look back at it, I'm like, man, that was cool. Like, because around the time you had Franz Ferdinand and the Killers, and so you had there was an indie sound. We didn't necessarily have that indie sound, but we did have our own unique sound that was that. And looking back, I'm like, man, that was a special time period.
Yeah, that's cool. I love that.
So I know for me, the first Remedy Drive show I attended was the Rock and Worship Road Show. It's kind of like Mercy Me's, I guess, the alternative to like Winter Jam. So like going on a tour like that with all of these like heavy hitters in the Christian music industry, like what was that tour like?
I remember one time during Mercy Me's sound check, I was walking through the arena. My son Jack would wake up on the bus every day in a new city. He was 5 years old, and we'd go take his scooter around, and he'd scoot around. And we came through, and Bart from Mercy Me was doing a little half handstand on my piano, just kind of imitating me because our piano was out on stage. And that was a funny moment. Getting to know a few of the bands. Well, Family Force 5, those guys were real friendly, like really fun people to be around.
You're speaking Brandon's language with that. He loves Family Force 5.
Yeah, they were fun. Like I made Soul Glow Activator. I made Solomon a a birthday cake on
Mhm.
that tour. And there, there's a lot of hanging out on their tour bus. But at the same time, had a family too. So my wife and my son and my 3-year-old daughter were on that. And my wife was pregnant too. It's 2010.
Goodness.
And it was cool because you'd see ticket stubs from the night before. You'd see like Muse play that venue the night before.
Mhm.
And then you talk. I like talking to the people that work at venues like that. And they're like, yeah, all you musicians want to be basketball players and hockey players. All the hockey players want to be musicians. It was just fun to be in all the iconic venues. But that was never our thing. We rarely
Yeah.
played. We rarely played with other bands. It was usually just us
Mhm.
and maybe a local opener.
Mm.
I got you. Yeah, no, like some bands will talk about how those kinds of tours are like amazing because it opens these doors. And I remember like House
Yeah.
of Heroes talking about how they went on tour with like Skillet and Toby Mac, but it was almost
Yeah.
like the opposite where everyone was like, okay, we know these bands, but like who's this weird band singing about like World War II like pilots and all
Yeah.
this stuff?
Yeah, we definitely never fit in. We fit in just enough because we had All Along on the radio at that
Mhm.
time from the 2008 record. And so there were some people that knew our song, and then there was obviously fans, especially when we played like hometown shows like Omaha, Nebraska.
Mhm.
Like that was so fun for people to see us, having made it, quote unquote, even though we were on the front end of the
Yeah.
thing.
Mhm.
This is kind of fun. I didn't realize we'd be going down memory lane so much in this chat.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, it's cool just to see like I was in a band that never experienced anywhere close to what you've been able to kind of walk through, but there's so much just like nostalgia and like kind of warm feelings from back in those days for me, so I understand that.
Yeah.
So for you guys though, like it feels like for a long time it's been more than just music that's been kind of a driving passion for you. You
Yeah.
guys years ago started stepping into this journey of figuring out like how we can fight human trafficking that's happening around the world. How did that first become a thing for you to be passionate about?
I have all the way back to the early days. We had found ourselves at events and at concerts helping raise awareness and funds to fight against different injustices.
Mm-hmm.
And the one that kept reoccurring was the issue of boy soldiers, a particular evil kind of human trafficking, an evil kind of slavery where children are forced to fight and carry guns, and 7, 8-year-olds. And that sorrow and being attached to that sorrow was part of who we were, and it started to come into our songs. And so we were indie, we were writing whatever we want. And then after we had a little bit of success, I'm like, what are we going to do with the success? Success is currency. Rock and roll is currency. Our platform is currency. What are we going to spend that currency on? How are we going to invest that currency? And so I was really moved as I kept on leaning into the issue of slavery, I think, which is, historically, there's always been a small kernel of people that have pushed back against slavery throughout all of history in its different forms. And it's always been acceptable. And there's always been an apathy around that issue. And William Wilberforce's quote, the abolitionist that led the movement over across the sea in England over a decade before the United States finally fell in line. But he said you can choose to look the other way, but you can never again say you did not know.
Yeah.
And for me, because I looked so intently at this issue, because I was forced to engage with it on a regular basis at concerts, because our fans were really, it's something that a lot of people in our community cared about. And that crescendoed for me. Amy Carmichael, who dyed her skin with coffee in the early 1900s to go in and rescue 6 and 7-year-old girls out of forced ritual prostitution. Like these stories, hundreds of stories and moments like that just nudged me in this direction. It was this undeniable propulsion forward by this unseen force in my life. Undeniable, pushing me in this direction. where finally in 2012, when Invisible Children,
Mm.
an organization that exposed a warlord named Joseph Kony in particular at scale, I watched a video about that with my daughter, and she says, "Dad, why not God protect those boys?"
Mm.
And for me, that was the last straw of kind of dipping my toe in this whole justice thing.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
And so at that point, I said, I have to write music about this particular injustice. And I need to find a way to celebrate and be involved with those who are participating in pushing back against this great darkness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember years ago when I watched that documentary, Invisible Children, for the first time.
Yeah.
Just being blown away that, man, this is happening in our world, and
Mhm.
like, what are
Yeah.
we doing about it? Like, and I was super excited that there were people that were trying to like bring light to the darkness that's happening. But I
Yeah.
think a lot of people were just wondering, man, that feels like it's so far away.
Mhm.
Like, how can we be involved in it and engaged in it? And I love that, like, through part of what you guys are doing, you've like created pathways for people to step in and seemingly
Yeah.
like be a part of
Mhm.
making a difference, which I think is awesome.
That's what was so great about Invisible Children, because for those of you who don't know the story, boys are getting kidnapped in Uganda and out of their huts. And so they'd walk hours to the cities just to sleep in the city streets at night under the protection of guards. And
Mhm.
so the way that Invisible Children helped bring that to light here in the States is that thousands of kids slept in our state capitals all over the country,
Mhm.
college age and high school kids. Brilliant idea. And you could roll your eyes like, what is it really doing anything? It did something. It moved the needle and it pulled me into action.
Yeah.
Like it really did.
Mhm.
I'm like, if those boys are using the currency of their video cameras to expose this injustice, what currency do I have to use? It made me ask that question, but it made millions of other people ask that same question.
Mhm.
Well, can't I also do a little bit? And so with Daylight United, our counter trafficking initiative, that's the same thing, is how can I invite people into doing a little bit with their currency, which is a different currency than my rock and roll. You know, you're using the
Yeah.
currency
Mhm.
of your microphones and your podcast right now to shine a little bit of light, to
Mm.
tear a little bit of corner off this darkness.
Mm.
Yeah. For me, I feel like a lot of people they hear about this or that when it comes to like human trafficking and all. What do you feel like is maybe one of the biggest misconceptions surrounding human trafficking?
Oh man, there's so many. That there's chains involved necessarily.
Mhm.
It's a very subtle and nuanced and tricky, hard to define type thing. The words around the issue are very odd. Trafficking's an odd word,
Mm.
but it's when there's fraud, when there's force, and when there's coercion,
Mm-hmm.
and someone's selling someone else. If it's sex trafficking in that capacity, but there's also labor trafficking,
Mm-hmm.
and I think the misconception is most victims know they're victims. And the
Mhm.
reality is most victims don't realize that they're being victimized because of that coercion factor
Mm-hmm.
and because of that fraud factor. They're tricked into it. They're forced oftentimes into criminal actions as well. So they don't have anybody to run to. They don't have anybody to take their cause.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. Yeah. Well, tell us a little bit about what you guys are doing with Daylight United, and then what are ways that people maybe who are even listening to this can connect with what you're doing and be a part of it. How can they use the currency that they have?
So Daylight United is doing several things. One is advocacy, like what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
We're pointing out the fact that there's this issue.
Mm-hmm.
We're raising awareness, we're raising funds, and anybody can participate in that. That's very easy. And what that looks like on the front end is going into difficult situations, myself and the teams that we help fund, and spying on criminal networks that are selling teenage girls by the hour,
Mm-hmm.
using technology, using cyber forensics gear, sometimes in person, sometimes surveillance, putting up hidden surveillance cameras, sometimes wearing surveillance cameras to find evidence of what's going on. It means getting in close with human traffickers, and that's what I
Yeah.
do.
Mm.
I find out to the best of our ability how they are running their operations, where they're getting these girls from, how they're keeping them under control, where they're keeping them at night, so that we can develop the kind of actionable evidence necessary to partner with law enforcement to make raids against the establishments and the individuals and the criminal networks that are trafficking kids. And then another, so that's intervening. That's the rescue piece, and that's helping dismantle crime syndicates. And then after that, when a girl comes out of that, Daylight United is supporting other partner teams that specialize in aftercare with trauma therapy, with art therapy, with well-informed and well-educated people that bring love to these young girls coming out of trafficking, to give them a future and a hope and a resume, to give them a skill set, to get them through, to get them education, and to help them restart their lives.
I love that. That's beautiful. And I love that that second piece exists, because I think that's so important. Because we all need to know that there's hope, and that there's hope in this life. And if we can create pathways, not just to bring people out of darkness, but to help move people into light, man, I think that's really, really beautiful. So let's just say I'm listening to this right now, and I wanted to go and donate or figure out other ways that I can be involved. Where would I go to figure that out?
The funnest way to jump in right away is to text the word daylight to the number 24365.
Okay.
So daylight to 24365. And you'll get updates when we make a raid, when we make a rescue. Like yesterday, thousands of people got this text that said we participated in a series of 8 raids that resulted in arresting 11 human traffickers and rescuing 38 girls out of trafficking. And so that's texting daylight to 24365. You can also go to our band's website, remedydrive.com/Daylight United. And right there, you'll see some of these recent stories of raids. You'll see some videos that show some of the footage of what we're doing, shows some of these girls in aftercare, shows some of the undercover footage, shows some money exchanges with traffickers. We use marked money. And you'll get a chance to jump in. And you might, what really helps us is $20 a month. But also what really helps us is using the currency of your podcast to help us out. Using the currency of this girl named Karina ran a 5K in stilettos way back in the day. And she raised all this awareness and funds to help us fight trafficking.
Yeah.
And her husband just got married, and they walked 50 miles in 24 hours as part of their honeymoon. And they had people in their community sponsor each mile.
Yeah.
There's a girl next month that's bringing us for a Dress December event where her and a bunch of her friends are all wearing a dress every day of December to raise funds and awareness to fight trafficking. And then she's bringing Remedy Drive in for a concert there. And so those are just a few ways that I don't have a great answer for anybody that's like, man, I really want to get involved. And the reason is because there's so many ways that you can get involved, because you have a different voice than me. You have a different skill set. You have a different sphere of influence.
Yeah.
And all of that is currency. The creativity, your imagination, there's a way to bring that to bear. And Daylight United exists to help harness that and connect you with something that's particularly perfect for your skill set.
I love that.
So I wanted to go back. You mentioned a little bit earlier, talking about like Bart doing a half handstand on the piano. I know one of the coolest things, if you've ever been to a Remedy Drive show, is something that I think you've called piano gymnastics, where there's just like people jumping off of pianos. There's like handstands going on. So what's that? Like, how did you decide to add that to your live show? Like, how did that come about?
Oh, I think other people describe it as piano gymnastics. I just would describe it as like clumsy rock and roll. Like, I don't know. We've been doing this for so long, and it was the mid 2000s that I finally got a piano. Like I would jump over my old piano,
Mhm.
but then I got a piano that I could stand on.
Mhm.
And that was a lot of fun. And then I was like, well, I can jump off it too. And I was like, maybe I can kind of do a somersault over it. And then every now and then I'm able to stick it's not a handstand like some people can do.
Mhm.
I crank my neck over and use my shoulder as a kickstand a little bit. And I can stick that for a few seconds sometimes if on a good day.
That sounds fun. So when you guys were getting started and figuring out who you were as a band, what were some of the biggest like influences just on your music, and even like the way that you decided we want to be faithful to actually do something with this, that it's not just about the rock and roll,
Yeah.
but there's more than that. Like, who influenced that for you?
I mean, that part is an easy response. It's Bono 100%
Yeah.
on all fronts there.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
100%. When he did the 2006 prayer breakfast speech with George Dubs in the Oval Office or wherever it was, he said this. He said, God is in the slums.
Mhm.
God is in the cardboard boxes where the poor play house.
Mm.
In the silence of a mother who's infected her daughter of a virus they'll both die from.
Mm.
In the cries heard under the rubble and debris of war. In the what do you say? The rubble of lost lives and lost opportunity. And he's with us if we're with them.
Mm.
And something about the way he said that and that whole speech, he quoted this ancient prophet named Jeremiah, and I felt ripped off that I'd never heard that from any preacher in any Bible study.
Mhm.
It took a rock star talking to a president to say, he took the cause of the oppressed. Isn't that what it means to know me, says the Lord God Almighty?
Mm.
I hope that was clear with all the loud cars in the background.
Yeah.
But
That's great.
Mhm.
that verse from Jeremiah and 21 other references like that, 2,100 other references like that in Hebrew and scripture in the New Testament. And I felt like there was some sort of scandal that part of what it means to know the maker of all things
Mhm.
was hidden from me and not emphasized anywhere nearly what it's emphasized in our scripture.
Mm.
And I don't need to read it there because what I realize is it's already written on my heart. That longing to participate in somebody else's freedom, it's innate in all of us.
Mhm.
Whether it's me fighting against trafficking or Mother Teresa with her amazing work, feeding and welcoming and clothing and whatever it is that we're drawn to, the realization that our hearts know, wait a second, I'm actually doing this. And there's individuals here on planet Earth that are hopefully receiving some benefit from it, but it's what feeds and nourishes my soul and pulls me into this quality of life that's described as abundant.
Mm.
Mhm.
And the more I look in the words of Jesus in particular, but in a lot of my favorite prophets like Amos and Isaiah, you see that seems to be kind of like the whole thing. Like loving my neighbor like I like myself. Now, loving my neighbor's daughter like myself is what it means to love the maker of all things in some way that I'll never understand, but I believe to be true.
I love that you said that, and because the whole time you were talking, I was thinking about the prophet Amos, and one of my favorite passages is from Amos chapter 5, where God's speaking through Amos, and he says, "Take away from me the noise of your songs, the melody of your harps. I won't listen, but let justice flow down, and righteousness like an ever-flowing stream." And like that's what God desires, because that's what real worship is honoring the things that God's given us and using them in a way that benefits his kingdom in our world. Like that's worship. Worship isn't just singing a song to God. That doesn't cost us anything. But really giving ourselves.
I like the way you said it the first time. It's not that it's just singing. It's not just singing.
Right.
It's not. It's not singing. It's not. That isn't worship. That's that's like great to do and important, but it's literally talking the talk with melodies. And if it's not combined with some action, then like Amos is so mean. He, like, I'm gonna like shut up with your songs. I'm gonna plug my ears when you pray because you plug your ears to the cries of the poor.
Yeah.
And Isaiah says the same thing in Isaiah 58 and Isaiah 1. It's in the Proverbs. Um, and then Jesus like really solidifies it with, "Hey, I was imprisoned and you didn't visit me. I was hungry and you
Mhm.
didn't fit. I don't know you." And what do they say? It's like, "Lord." The other guys are like, "Lord, when? When were you hungry and I fed you? When were you a stranger and I did what I could with my influence to make sure that my society welcomed you?
Mm.
When? Or when when, Lord, did I do what I could with my influence and my power and my voice in a community or in a nation to make sure that you were edged out as a stranger?"
Mhm.
I mean, that's pretty deep stuff. And
Yeah.
I think it's real. I think Jesus meant that, and you can explain it away all day long. But I also think he's going to be really kind regardless. Like, I think it's a great parable. And they're like, I forgive you, though. Like, I really do. Like, I'm really hopeful about all of us in those situations. But, and I'm not sure how the parables work. But at the end of the day, I'm like, I'm not doing this because I'm supposed to. I'm not doing this because it's hard to describe. I'm not doing this to be noticed by God. But in some ways, I am. I kind of want to be noticed by God. Like, and I want to be thankful. Like, I'm so thankful for life. And one way of being thankful or worshipful, like you said, is in these actions that pull other people, try to pull people up to this beautiful thing that I'm experiencing.
Yeah, we tend to think that like God works inside of buildings and walls on certain days of the week. But the reality is God is moving everywhere at all times. And the invitation is way more than us to come and spend time with him on a Sunday. But how can we join him where he is in the hedges and the highways every day of the week and be a part? Like, that's the thing that produces like joy in our lives, is when we are joining God in what God is doing and fulfilling our purpose as we were created to. Yeah, I love it.
So imagine me going to my A&R guy in the Christian music industry and saying, "Hey, we had some great success. We had some happy, safe for the whole family, positive, encouraging tunes on the radio. Now I want to write a album about boy soldiers and sex trafficking and slavery." And he literally said, one of the executives said, "But David, isn't worship singing and all that social justice stuff?" And then the marketing directors, he used a word for sex worker that I don't use, but he's like, "David, and then he said that word and he's like, "I need you to give me something I can sell." And man, I immediately thought of those guys on the front end and the back end with all the stuff they were selling they would sell, I think, 250,000 animals on a typical Passover weekend in Jerusalem. And then they'd resell them back into the meat market. So they were double dipping on and Jesus, like, "I didn't want to sacrifice." Like Jeremiah says the same thing. "This is not what I want at all." And he's mad. He's flipping tables. And what he does want, like you said, like Amos said, he wants justice. And justice is expensive and it's difficult and it's complicated. But I get to play a tiny role in it.
I love that.
That's awesome. So one thing I've always wondered about is, so like your song "Hope" was used in an Olympic commercial. I was wondering what's the process like for a song appearing on there? Like how did it, and I guess also how did it feel to see your song on there? Like, is it something where you guys submit, or is it something where you're just watching TV and you go, "Hey, that's us"?
So there's a thing called publishing. And so most songs have a publisher, like a record labels work with publishing companies, and the job of them is to exploit the song however they can, and try to go out and make that song work. Solomon told me on that same, you'll like this since you're a Family Forest 5 fan. Solomon said, he's like, "Touring's for suckers. I'm tired of working for my songs. I want my songs to go out and work for me." I love that guy. They're such kind guys. But that didn't pay anything. That was a free use. But it was awesome. So there's a whole department that calls and has relationships, and they work with movies and film and TV and whoever programs the Olympics and commercials, and says, "Hey, here's a song that I think would work for this." You know, the dream would be like a diamond or a car commercial. Although U2 passed down, you'll like this. U2 passed down where the streets have no name.
Mm-hmm.
They got a multi-million-dollar offer to use their song for that, and they turned it down because their manager's like, "Here's what you got. Now remember, people said this sounds like heaven, and it can either be like this song sounds like heaven, or this. Oh, that's that song from the car commercial." And they're like, "No, we're turning that down." I thought that was fascinating.
That's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I love
But-
that.
What was really cool around that time is when guys got hit hard in Lambeau Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
They played stand up, so it's like get up off the ground. So it's fun to know Brett Favre and the boys were hearing our tunes up there.
That's
really
awesome.
cool. That's really cool. Well, David, tell us a little bit about the future for Remini Drive. Obviously, you guys, you've done the independent thing, you've done the big label thing. Like, kind of, what do you see like moving forward for you guys in the future?
Well, I don't know. We're just kind of coasting under the radar. It was really nice to be at a label and have a lot more people hear us.
Mm-hmm.
But you had the tension there of them expecting something really commercial, and I don't ever think we were ever really commercial,
Mm-hmm.
or could figure out how to get what we're trying to do in front of more people. Which that's something I would welcome. I'm 47 almost, and so I'll take anything at this point in my life. I'm just thankful to still be making music and to be able to figure out a way to harness the power of our rock music alongside a justice issue. And so we're just going to keep on doing that under radar. Sometimes that's, I'd love another tour with a bigger band but I also love going into people's living rooms and playing an acoustic set for an hour and sharing behind the scenes of some of the songs.
Yeah.
Like that's been really special too.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's for me, that feels like a dignified way for me to continue doing this and celebrate a 25-year career so far,
Mm. I feel like the music industry has changed and shifted so much in the last 15 years. And what's been cool though is that I feel like I've been able to see a lot of artists really figure out how to navigate that and keep going in the midst of it, and
Yeah.
use what's there in a way of saying we can still do this in a meaningful way, even if it looks a little different. And so I think that's exciting, man, just to kind of see like how can we continue to for you, one, get the music out, but really like
Yeah.
use this that kind of God's given us as a means to do something that's maybe even more important than that.
Mm-hmm.
And the two are so intertwined. And kind of it took us 11 years to figure out how intertwined the work and the music is.
Yeah.
And really embracing the fact that as one rises, so does the other. And a rising tide lifts both ships. So my dream is to do a tour where Daylight United gets in front of a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm still trying to figure that out. I'm talking to some of my friends in bands. But it's a hard thing, John Foreman from the band Switchfoot once said to me, man, he's like, I can't imagine doing what you do. People are coming to have a fun night, and then suddenly you're, kind of telling them some of the worst things they've ever heard in their life. And he's like, you got to watch your bedside manner. And so I've taken that to heart, and moving forward, I'm just going to celebrate the wins and, give people just a nudge of this sad part, but everybody's also got so much they're going through in their regular lives too. And that's something I've had to realize, everybody's got a lot going on. And yet at the same time, I do think there is a joy that does not exist outside of the intentional action of putting ourselves in close proximity with someone else's sorrow. I think there's a joy there. It's counterintuitive, but so is the idea of, in order to find our life, we have to lose it.
Man, that's beautiful. And I think you're exactly right. This has been like such a fun conversation just to get to hear your heart behind all this. And so I'm thankful. Thankful for us getting to have the chance to hear that, but I'm just really grateful for you and what you're doing as well, shining a light out on this, and more than that, even of engaging in it in a significant and in a meaningful way, So man, thank you for that. And thank you for sharing about, how God's been able to use you and your music, in a significant way. We really appreciate you spending time with us.
I'm really glad to be on here, and I'm sorry to you and the listeners for these continued motorcycle. I've enjoyed it a lot. It took us a while to get to the good stuff, I feel like, because although the front end was really fun for me because it was so nostalgic, but I feel like this was a fun conversation. I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Well, dude, we really appreciate it and thankful to be able to have you with us today.
Yeah, thank you guys.
All right. Well, let's talk about our lyric of the week.
It's time for the lyric of the It's time.
Yeah, so this week's lyric of the week, it comes off of their release of Daylight is Coming, and it's off the song Heartbeat, and it goes, my heart is fast asleep, dreaming it could bleed, for something that's real, my desperate appeal. God, I'm getting tired of the way I feel when I would rather be alive.
I like that. I like that. It's been fun today getting to hear about David's story, and we would just encourage you guys to check out more of their music and also dig into what they're doing. Some really, really worthwhile work. That is a great opportunity for us all to partner with them. And we're thankful that you are partnering with us by listening to this so faithfully every week. You can find us online, Facebook, X, all the fun places. And also, we'd love it if you subscribe to the podcast so new episodes can just drop straight into whatever app you listen to podcasts on. And we'd love it if you give us a review as well. But we're just thankful for you guys and thankful for the journey. Brandon, you teased a moment ago that as we're moving into the holidays, we're about to start talking about some Christmassy stuff. And I'm pretty pumped to get into that. So we'll look forward to catching you guys next week as we start that journey.
Hey, are you listening? This ain't no quiet